All right. So if you are a coach or a creator and you are trying to get more clients for your programs, trying to grow your business, but you are like sitting down to work and you're working hard and working on a lot of stuff, but nothing really seems to be happening in your business, or things aren't happening as quickly as you would like. This is part 3 of a 3-part episode series where I'm sharing how I have personally solved this problem in the past, because that has been me many, many times. I'm just like, I'm doing a lot, but nothing's really changing. What's going on? And I've thought about this a lot and tried a lot of different things, consulted a lot of different coaches, and it all boils down to 3 things. There's 3 kind of gears to get in place, and they all lock into each other, and then they're all turning together, and that is when you can get explosive growth in your business and really see huge return on the time that you're spending. If you haven't listened to parts 1 and 2, definitely go back and listen to those before you listen to this one. I'm going to release these all within one day of each other, so those should be there. But we are going to dive into part 3 today. And in order to explain what this is, I want to tell you about a new software that I have started using for my content. The name of it is called Hype Fury. I'll put a link in the show notes because you're probably going to want this after you hear about what it does. But I'm telling you about it to teach this broader point of today's lesson. So bear with me. So Hype Fury, it's like you basically log in and you write a piece of content. Then that piece of content, you can schedule it to post on X, formerly Twitter, and also LinkedIn, Facebook business pages, and Instagram. It will automatically create those carousel posts for Instagram or LinkedIn, where it looks like a bunch of screenshots and you swipe through them as you read, all on its own. So that alone is pretty cool, right? Like the fact that it will automatically post all those other platforms and create carousel posts where needed. It'll create Twitter or X threads if needed, which means it's like a bunch of separate posts that are all linked below the first one, because there's a character limit. And so you can go in and schedule a bunch of posts in there and they'll all go out. But here's where it gets really cool on another level. That software allows you to categorize the posts that you write. So for me, I write like posts about writing, posts about book writing specifically, posts about a coaching business, posts about productivity, posts about personal development. And there's probably 1 or 2 other categories I've got in there. And so what you can do is you can create the categories that all your posts fall within. And then you can assign each post that you write to one of those categories. So over time, let's say you write 1 post a day for 2 months. So you got 60 posts. Let's say you've got 4 different broad categories. So you got 15 posts under each category. Well, what you can do with their software is you can say, every Tuesday at 2 p.m., I want you to pull something from my coaching business category and post it on all those platforms. Every Thursday at 3 p.m., I want you to pull something from my writing category and post it. And it will, and by the way, like reposting content that you've already made is a big thing. That's how you get volume. You don't always come up with new stuff. You create a system to recycle the stuff that you've already created. I didn't mention that, but that's a big thing. If you talk to, Brendan Burchard, he'll say probably only 50% of the posts that you see from him are new, and then the other 50% are recycled. Because when you post something, most people don't see it. And so you post it again, and it'll usually be a new set of people that'll see it, and people don't remember that they saw it, or they, you know what I mean? And if content creation is the method for growing a brand, getting clients, then you have to be willing to embrace this. You don't have to spam with the same post every week. You space them out a lot, which is easier to do when you have more posts built up in your bank of content. But what Hype Fury allows you to do is just fill your calendar with all of those automations. And so you can have, 3 to 5 posts going out every day, and maybe only one of them is new, and then the other 3 or 4 are from your bank of posts that you've been writing and accruing over the long haul. And it automatically will pull like the first post from the coaching business category. And then on the next Tuesday, it'll pull the second one and the third one, and it goes in order all the way to the end, and then it goes back to the top. So it like won't repeat itself until it absolutely has to. And so why am I telling you all this? This is supposed to be an episode about productivity. Well, what is your guess? What are you seeing in this story of this software that I use about how it applies to our conversation? And what I see and what I've found is that in order to get traction and to get momentum, in order to be productive, you absolutely have to have systems in your business. You cannot sit down, flying by the seat of your pants and be like, what am I going to post today? Oh, I got to think of something. Okay, let me just pound this out. And then you write it, and then it just disappears into the abyss, and you never use it again. And it got 2 likes, and you're like, shit, what am I going to do now? And that is really, really difficult to build up any kind of consistency. The other problem, at least for me, is like, some days like today, I feel pretty fired up and been productive, but man, at least one day a week, if not 2, I'm like, man, I don't want to do anything. I don't have the energy that I have today. And what happens on those days? Do you just ghost everybody and you don't show up? And so creating systems allows you to keep showing up and creating content and being top of mind and pushing people to your email list and pushing people to your courses and your programs and building your audience and all this stuff while you're laying on the couch hungover because you had too many margaritas with your buddies on a Tuesday night, and you're waiting on your breakfast burrito to be delivered by DoorDash. That doesn't, unfortunately, I don't get to do that as much right now because we have 2 very young little girls, but that used to be me back in the day, and I kind of miss it, but that's another story. You need systems in your business for when you don't feel like putting in the work. And this software that I'm talking about is just one example. Think about your email list, right? You're writing all these really good emails to your list, and you maybe putting them on your blog. But what if you could find a way to show that to everyone again in 3 months? Okay, that doesn't seem like the biggest needle mover, but then you write another post and then you schedule it to go out today and then again in 3 months from now. Can you see how this builds up? Like it has a snowball effect, and you're not going to keep reusing the same old stuff. Some stuff you may have to go in and rewrite a little bit or delete if it doesn't fit with your message or your niche anymore. Like there's going to be nuances that are going to happen, but you got to have systems in your business. And, this is why I like writing a book, because the book on its own is a system. Like the book teaches and points people towards your back-end programs all on its own. So when someone has a question, you can just point them to the system that is the book. An online course would be the same thing, right? Which is a good thing to build, because then when someone has a question, you can just be like, go buy that. And then it builds trust. You can sell it to them for cheap. And then they'll be warmed up to working with you on the back end, where you can trade your time for dollars because you're getting a high hourly rate. If you're charging $5,000 for a 10 or 12 pack of coaching sessions, you can do the math and be like, okay, at that point I would, do Zoom calls and trade my time in a way that's not really repurposable. You're not going to like record one-on-one sessions, but you get my point. As much as you can, you're looking for ways to get leverage. Excuse me. Too excited today. You're looking for ways to get leverage in your business. And that software is just an example of what I'm talking about when it comes to building systems. If you've read the book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, it goes into detail about this, about how businesses, if you have to do everything, then like you're a glorified employee, basically. And there's plenty of us who are in like the business coaching space, me included, who are still out there as glorified employees telling people that they're going to help them with their business, but they don't even understand this fundamental principle of business. And so you've got to think about how to systemize. So to summarize this whole series that we've gone over, in the first episode, we talked about your energy and your passion and excitement. So you're like the vehicle or the vessel that everything starts from. The system will pick up, luckily, and carry that energy forward. We live in an amazing time where you have all this software and automation and tools at your fingertips. But it all starts with you. So you show up and you've taken care of your physical body and your mental health, and you just feel amazing. You're focused. You're crushing it. That is all critical. Then from there, the next thing is like, okay, what do you apply that towards? What are you actually working on in your business? What judgment are you applying to say, I need to work on this because I need more leads? That's number 2. So you're showing up with tons of energy and you're working on the right stuff. That's most of the battle there. But then the work that you're doing should be systemized, productized, in such a way that it then does more work for you down the road. It's not just like you light up a flame and it kind of poofs out, but it catches more and it grows, and a bigger and bigger flame burns. That's when you think about, systems and productization. And it really kind of links with number 2, because you're using your judgment at times to say, hey, I got to build a system for content creation because that's going to get me out of this like hamster wheel of creating content every day. Energy, working on the right stuff and systemizing, and you will get out of the rut that you're in. You will start to see movement in your business like you've never seen before. And this is it, guys. So I hope this series has been helpful for you. If you want to grab or hop on my newsletter, it's called Ink to Income. It's all about using writing to grow a creator business, make a living, make a difference in the world, productize yourself. A lot of what we've talked about in this series, it's the stuff that I live and breathe. My background is buying rental properties and achieving financial freedom. I've always been like trying to think about how I can do work that then will do work for me. If you buy an investment property, that's an example. But I'm trying to bring that to the writing and creative world as well. That's all I got, guys. Hope that was valuable. Please leave this podcast a review if you found that valuable, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Here's to your success.